Welcome back, football fans. So nice to see you here. You know what it is. It's Thursday evening. Beautiful time, beautiful place. As per usual, I am Theo, aka the fuck Prince of Narnia, aka Young Money, Cash Money.
Scared money
As
don't make money.
as usual, with you, my boy Derek, the Squiggle Master. How are you doing, my guy?
Well, we are doing fabulous. Great day. Felt wonderful. It's like literally like 75 degrees out today. In the middle of November. Thanksgiving's next week. Let's put it in perspective. And so it was pretty good today. Great week of football we had, and nothing to complain about.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what's not to complain about. We have a very exciting episode coming up for you here. We have a very highly esteemed guest joining us on the show today. One Peter Fish joining us on the show. And I got to say, I have been thinking about this all week, having our friend Petey come on and join the show. I got to say, great guy, good guy, Petey. Very passionate about football, enjoys the game. This guy's a world-class shit talker. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Gold medal, world-class, platinum-selling shit talker. Don't know anybody who does it just for the love of the game like this guy. So I'm very excited to see the good things he has to say about this week. I'm excited to hear the bad things he has to say about this week. So very much looking forward to how that goes down.
Yeah. It's gonna be a great episode. So let's just get right into it without further ado. Peter Fish.
And at this time, we at Masks Off are very excited to welcome our special guest. We have P.F. Chang's Peter Fish. Please introduce yourself to the people, my friend.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me on tonight. I'm Peter Fish, a former KU alum, like these fine gentlemen are. I'm a Bears fan hailing from Downers Grove, Illinois, outside of Chicago. I love football. I love a great excuse to drink beers at noon on Sundays, and I love talking smack. So let's get it started.
Perfect. Couldn't have introduced you better myself. So let's jump right into it. And just like the football week, as per usual, we start off with Thursday night. Now, as a throwback to last week, me and Squigs did have a little debate there about, who's going to come out on top on the Colts and Titans game. And I'm enough of a man to admit when I was wrong. The Colts handled the Titans in a pretty impressive fashion on that fateful Thursday night. I was very impressed by the Colts defense. I was impressed by the way they handled Derrick Henry, even though he still had a good night. But they really exposed that Titans passing game as to what Derrick thought they had been for a while. Ryan Tannehill only coming out with 147 yards, completing 56% of his passes and one touchdown. So not at all a good night. Not at all the night we would expect from a very dark horse MVP contender. So, Derek, I'll let you take the reins on this one and kind of explain what you saw, how it lined up with what you thought was going to happen.
Yeah. So I just thought that Ryan Tannehill was. I still just can't trust Ryan Tannehill. He's has good stretches. He has a really good run game. He is what I called last week. Their team is very old school football. They like to run the ball and like to play decent defense. I would say good defense, but their defense is kind of decent, not really like super great. But regardless, Tannehill has been slacking off when Derrick Henry he had a 100-yard night, I believe, but it was very quiet. No huge chunk play really. I think he had like 11 yards was his biggest run or something like that. I could be wrong, but like the thing is that Tannehill, he is who I thought he was, at least right now. He needs to figure it out. The issue with him is that he's so inconsistent, and you know what? This goes back to early in the season when they couldn't figure out the COVID protocols. They lost it in the mail. They didn't know what to do. So I think this is I'm gonna call this karma for being dickheads for fucking COVID protocols. To be completely honest.
Peter, thoughts on Thursday night?
Honestly, boys, going into that game, I was thinking the Titans were going to come out on top. I actually was sitting at dinner with a friend. We were watching it, and he was talking about how he had money. He tried the Dr. Lockett on the Colts, and I called him a fool. It was maybe a quarter deep. The Titans were still looking solid, and then it was all game over from there. I just thought it was impressive what the Colts were able to do with their time of possession as far as offensive efficiency goes. That's something you always got to be worried about in a run-heavy offense like the Titans is what's the time of possession going to be? How are other teams going to find a way to have time to score? And I think the Colts were able to kind of break that seal, and that's why they I think they did double their score. If not, it was pretty damn close.
It was 34-24 or 21 or something like that. 34-17 was the score.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it was doubled. Yeah. So, no, they did. I mean, I didn't see it coming. The Colts impressed me every week. So, that's kind of all I got to say about that.
All right, let's go.
Well said, well said. Moving on into Sunday, the game of the week, in my humble opinion. I mean, I think we might have mentioned this very quickly as a potential game of the week last week, but the Detroit Lions taking on the Washington football team. We did talk about this. We said the football team had a very underrated defense, and the Lions had a very underrated offense, and that underrated offense really came out to show. Matthew Stafford had one of his, if not the best game of the year for him. 276 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, a QBR of 127.8. He only got sacked one time, and this was all against that Washington football team who was the number 1 passing defense heading into the game. Even though the Lions came out on top in a very close win, you'd be stupid not to give props to Alex Smith, who came out and completed 69% of his passes. He also had 390 passing yards. I mean, 27-30, this was a close game all the way up to the end. The Lions low-key almost blew a lead again, but they managed to hold on. Very impressed by Matthew Stafford. A little concerning, though, that he did have a partial tear in his right thumb. So that will be something to keep an eye on going forward. Petey, why don't you give us your thoughts on that Lions football team matchup?
Well, I did not get a chance to watch that game, but I will look at the stat line and analyze from there. And what I think is crazy is that they let that man, Mr. Alex Smith, was it Project 11, throw the ball 55 fucking times. I mean, he's probably still icing it. And, I haven't watched a whole lot of Washington games this year. I've sure as hell been watching the Lions, and, they impressed me. I'm not surprised they won that game. Again, hats off to Matt Stafford. Sounds like he did have himself a good game, but by God, I mean, it seems like Washington has a chance to turn it around if they could figure it out. I know they have a pretty stout defense. Nothing that's going to keep them in every game, but definitely going to give them a chance at catching maybe 3 more or 4 more wins here to conclude the season. But Detroit Lions are a sneaky team. Being a Bears fan, I'm a little worried about them. We got lucky to beat them week 1 in our opener. We're looking forward to seeing them again, and I think I don't know. I like what Swift's been doing out there for Detroit too. He's versatile back, does a good job keeping the defense on their toes. And he also does a good job spreading it sideline to sideline, which you can always appreciate for a running back.
Hell yeah! I think the biggest takeaway, not the biggest takeaway, Stafford, he spread the ball around really well. I think, did Golladay get injured, or was nothing happened with him? Maybe that was last week, or the week before. Regardless, I think Marvin Hall caught a touchdown, Marvin Jones caught a touchdown. He spread the ball around well. I think the big thing is that when you speak about Alex Smith coming back, in the division they're in, there's no way you can count them out in the NFC East right now. You just can't. I think they have a really good chance of winning it based off of the quarterback play from Philly, trash. I think it's up in the air right now. The division's always up in the air, but Alex Smith had his most attempts, most completions, and most passing yards in a game for his career. That game.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, Petey, like he's more of a game manager. He's not really a slinging the rock kind of guy. So it was a great game.
But goddamn, he could have been pitching in Game 7 of the World Series for fucking any team, throwing 55 passes. I mean, that's a solid 3, 4, maybe even 5 innings of throws. You got if you're playing the fucking Yankees. I mean, come on now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Also, I'm just going to throw this out there that the NFC East is the skanks of the NFL. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we got a worse division.
No, that's the worst. Like, they're the new AFC South.
No doubt. Well, AFC South and NFC East is a little bit different, but I'm not going to argue that the NFC East is no doubt the NFC least. No doubt. And before we move on from that football team Lions game, just gotta shout out a former Jayhawk real quick before we move on. I was watching this game and I was like, who the fuck is commentating this game right now? Like, it was some boring ass dude who sounded so familiar. I don't remember who it was. But then there's this crisp, energetic, charismatic voice that made me just want to tune in and switch over from Red Zone to watch that game by itself. And I was like, who is this guy? I've never heard him before. I know I would have noticed it. Aqib Talib made his commentating debut in that game, and it was a great one for him to start off with. If this is how Aqib Talib commented games are going to go from now on, I'm here for it. I loved what he had to say about the games in general. I loved what he had to bring as a football insider. But talking about his expertise, which is defensive backs, looking at defensive coverages, how they attacked quarterbacks, how quarterbacks counterattacked against them, I loved it. I think that's part of the reason why it was game of the week for me. I look forward to seeing Aqib Talib call primetime games, playoff games, Super Bowls. Give it to me. I'm here for it.
I know it won't happen because they're both color, but just imagine Talib and Romo.
Oh,
that'd be dreamy.
Talk about color.
I don't know about that, gentlemen. Sometimes I like to watch football and watch the plays unravel themselves. Sometimes Tony's a little heavy on watch this about to happen, and then it does. He's like, yeah, whatever. I saw it happen before it happened.
True.
Well,
I think it does have a good future though in commentating.
Yeah.
That sounds a little bit of like hater talk to me, PD. I don't know. That might just be me. It sounds like a little bit of a hater.
Yeah, Tony Romo has a buttery golf swing. Someone that an Evan Scholar can always appreciate.
Hey, fair enough.
So
you know who was buttery. You know who was buttery this week was Keelan Cole and the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I would say 90% of people, especially outside of Jacksonville, had the Packers winning this week, but the Jaguars were quite stubborn in not letting the Packers just run all over them. And the guy, like I said, to talk about this week was Keelan Cole, one of his biggest impact games of the year, maybe his whole career perhaps, but he had 5 catches for 47 yards. That's 9 yards a catch for those math freaks out there. And then he also brought back a punt return on a pretty nasty play. So Keelan Cole leading the Jaguars. James Robinson, an incredibly underrated season, incredibly underrated player. Also an incredibly underrated story coming as an undrafted player out of Illinois State this year. So we have any thoughts there? Let's go, Derek, on the Jaguars-Packers game, that tickler in Lambeau.
It was a good game. I was a little scared. You guys know me. I like the Packers. Packers I've really always liked them. But I mean, I feel like that's like the Packers MO this year. Is like they can't stop the run. All these games they should win. That's always going to be nail biters. Not always. They definitely blew out some teams, but like I feel like there's something about the Packers that it's just hard to say that they're at the top of the NFC. They have a lot of flaws that can stop them. But Keelan Cole balled. This Jake Luton, he's really weird. I think James Robinson helping him out a lot, which is nice. But I like Keelan Cole. I like DJ Chark. I like Chris Conley. I like the receiving core in Jacksonville is really, really really good. It's not like really, really, really good like some, but like it's pretty good. Like you would take them. So I think there's high hopes in Jacksonville coming. This is a huge confidence booster for this game. So I think they're going to take away good things from this game, even though they lost. But I mean, they didn't expect to win. We weren't expecting them to win. They were expecting to win, but they didn't, obviously. I do have to mention Miles Jack, little bitch. This dude, this motherfucker is bringing soccer, basketball, all those fucking things to the NFL where we don't need it. I literally saw this guy. I think it was someone running the ball or threw it, whatever it was, and he got a tackle and he ended up on the guy. And one of the Packers defense linemen picked up Miles Jack like off of the dude because he was sitting on him, and Miles Jack fucking just flopped like no other. Acted like he fucking literally was grabbing his collarbone, like he broke his collarbone. And it was very just disappointing, and we don't need that shit. This is football, not soccer, not basketball.
It's football in America, mate. He thought he was stuck in Europe. He was over at the Vatican praying for the gods to throw a flag. He's a simp.
The funny thing was that they threw the flag, and then the refs got in and talked, and they were like they were like, no, this is not a flag. This is not a flag. Like he,
this guy.
Like he got a penalty drawn. It was so fucking stupid, but funny as fuck. He's a little bitch for that. So that's my thoughts on the Jack.
No, I think the future definitely is bright for Jacksonville. I don't know. That Packers game was pretty solid. I think that ultimately the Jaguars' ability to contain the run game for the Packers kind of is what the difference was between a 4-point game and a 14-point game. But ultimately, and you know, if you've watched the Packers at all this year, it's those 50-plus yard receptions that will put the knife in the coffin for any team, whether it happens in the first quarter, the second quarter, the fourth quarter. It's teams need to keep giving Aaron Rodgers his respect, and I don't know. It needs to. It's going to get out of hand real quick, and I think a lot of teams are going to struggle against the Packers if they're allowing the likes of Valdes Scantling to scamper on for a little 70-yard reception and the likes of plays like that. Devontae Adams is going to get his, no doubt about that. One of the best receivers in the league. But it's these other role players that are weaseling their way to get open. Safeties are getting tugged up, and Aaron Rodgers is letting it huck. And it's bad news for other teams when that shit's happening.
Yeah, I got a quick question. Because I was watching it in Red Zone. What's up with Aaron Jones? Was he injured, or was he just splitting carries with Jamal Williams?
He's been splitting carries lately. He is on my fantasy team, so I should know better. But I think he has had some hamstring issues, which has been hindering him a little bit. Ultimately, I know the coaching staff is very protective of him over there in Green Bay, and they know they're going to be in the playoffs. And I think they're just kind of getting themselves locked and loaded, making sure everyone's healthy by the time they get there. So the fact that I think they gave Aaron Jones 13 carries, you know, they're cutting his workload in half as comparison to what we were seeing at the start of the year.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know. That's interesting. It's smart strategy because he's with him not on the field.
Jamal Williams is no slouch.
No, well, yeah, but the thing is, like, it's just like how a lot of other players like you can be no slouch when you're in the backup role, but once something happens, like if Aaron Jones gets injured, like you don't expect the same production from Jamal Williams because he's just not that great of not as good of a player as Aaron Jones. So it's you need him to be healthy to let Jamal Williams shine too.
Yeah. Well, if Jamal Williams didn't wear gloves with oil on him, he'd probably have a chance. But the fact that Aaron Jones can actually catch a ball probably helps.
That's true. That's very true.
There's that. Hey, speaking of gloves with oil all over them, let's talk about Daniel Jones. Very well documented that I love to hate Daniel Jones as a Cowboys fan, but I gotta say in this game against Philadelphia, where you really kind of only hope for injuries, Daniel Jones played one of his better games that I've ever seen him play. And he didn't even do anything that outstanding. He had 244 pass yards, completing 75% of his passes. And, well, he did have 64 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown, the style of which made me feel like that he made up for, to the best of his ability, that 80-yard fuck-up that he had against the Eagles the first time around this season. But looking at Daniel Jones' game this year, here in Week 10 against the rival Eagles, who, as we said, are in the NFC least, this was his first game all year that did not have a turnover. Last week against Washington, he didn't have a turnover, but he did fumble the ball 2 times, so I hate to call that a clean game. This was his first game of the year where he had a 100% clean game. And look at that. He didn't even score, and the Giants won by 10. So this just goes to show me that Daniel Jones, he doesn't need to be perfect. He doesn't even need to be great. He barely has to be good to win. All he has to do is not fuck up, and the Giants are okay. The problem is, I don't know how sustainable it is for him to not fuck up. But with the NFC East still wide open, like we've been talking about, it's still anybody's game, and the Giants are showing that they're not ready to go quietly into the night yet. I'm excited to see how they come off from the bye, play against Cincinnati and then Seattle, both away, and then Arizona at home. Those are going to be tough games, but hey, anything is possible at this point, I suppose. Petey, do you have any thoughts about Daniel Jones and the Giants?
Well, first of all, Daniel Jones, not a fan. I do not like Daniel Jones. I think I just not a guy I can get behind. But he did have a good week. I see that he had a 75% pass completion percentage, which anyone will take. Yeah, the no interceptions thing was big. You know, finally he was throwing to the guys wearing blue and red. But that's a game they probably should win. I don't know. The Eagles have potential to be a stingy team at times, but more often than not this year they have shown me that if their defense does not show up, they are garbage. And you know, I'm not going to put the Bears down on the Eagles level, but it's one of those teams where unless the defense shows out, you know, the offense ain't going to give it to you unless it's.
You know what?
I don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna put him on the Bears level. I'm gonna say that, and I'll explain after you're done talking. If you have something else to add, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
It's all right. I just the 9-inch Nick curse carried over from the trenches of Philadelphia to the streets of the Windy City, and as far as putting him on that level, I feel disrespected. The defense is on a whole nother terrain. The special teams is on a whole nother terrain. But we can both agree that the offensives are rather pathetic. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a lot to be said about Bears D that makes them kind of, they're a top 3 defense in the league.
Yeah.
And the Eagles ain't that. So once you reach that tier, but send fucking Carson Wentz over. I don't really care.
You don't want him.
The Bears just need. I don't know. I'm not big in a 9-inch Nick. I sure as hell am happy that Mitch Trubisky doesn't even sit on the bench anymore. I think he quivers in the locker room.
I think he's injured
because he's just. Yeah. He is, but I don't know with what. Potentially, was it a concussion? I'm not positive.
That little penis syndrome.
And I don't think anyone cares. The only thing I really care about is Dubs, and Bears have been far and few in between the last 5 weeks.
Yeah. I think so. It's so to the Giants. Daniel Jones is officially. I think we can officially call him. Maybe we've already done this, a dual threat quarterback, because he ran the ball pretty nicely.
He's the new Lamar Jackson. We've been over this. He's the new Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So,
Lamar Jackson wore 5-pound ankle weights.
True. Any other division, obviously, they would suck. But the fact that they're in the NFC East, it makes them look a little better. But to the point of the Eagles, that offense, they got Alshon Jeffries back, I believe. They got Jason Peters back. They got I don't think they got Lane Johnson. They might have got Lane Johnson back. They got 2 of their starting offensive linemen back. Alshon. They got some weapons back. And the fact that Carson Wentz still sucks. Carson Wentz is not the answer. He's never going to be the answer. He never was the answer. I hate Carson Wentz with a passion. He is, and the reason why I compared him to the Bears, your offense, definitely not your defense. Like the defense is incomparable. But on the offensive side, he reminds me a lot of Mitch, where he would suck, have a really good game to keep him in the thought process. Be like, I'm actually a starting QB. And then he goes through that cycle again. That's what Carson Wentz does.
And then he just forgets what color his team wears.
Exactly.
And throws a duck in between the hashes.
Yeah.
And it's just it's pathetic.
and that's what Carson Wentz does. Carson Wentz is he's just so he is so inconsistent in his play. Like he had his first year, they went 13-3, but he didn't even do it because he got injured. But they were so regardless, he is not the answer. Let's move on. I'm done talking about the fucking NFC East.
Me too. I've been done talking about
Die Eagles die.
Die Eagles die. Yes, sir. I got to talk about this Cardinals Bills game. I mean, it was a great game all the way up until the end. Say what you will about the first 59 minutes of the game, but that last minute of the game, that if that didn't have your blood pumping, then you just don't like NFL football. I mean, I thought Stephon Diggs ended the game catching the game-winning touchdown pass against one of the NFL's top cornerbacks of the past decade in Patrick Peterson. And then all of a sudden, here comes Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. They completed a 40-plus yard touchdown pass to seal the deal against Buffalo. And, I don't have a dog in the Cardinals. I don't have a dog in the Bills, really. Best of luck to both those teams, whatever. Really pissed me off when they completed that pass, and whoever Johnny fucking commentator was like, "Oh, what a Murray moment," and he totally gave all the props to Kyler Murray. I don't see that possible that could be a Murray moment. What I say to that is that's a Hopkins Hall of Fame play right there. That was all DeAndre Hopkins. I felt no disrespect to Larry Fitzgerald, one of the great all-time. No disrespect to Christian Kirk, one of the great young players. No other Cardinals receiver was coming down with that ball. There was 4 other Bills defenders all draped around Hopkins at the time, and he just wanted it more than they did. The only reason you could say that was a Murray moment is because he got out of the pocket and he scampered towards the side and he just let it fly. But truthfully, I think anybody could have let it fly and, seen what happened. It was DeAndre Hopkins who went up and made the play on the ball that ended the game. So I know a pitch and catch is between 2 players, and you got to give Kyler Murray his credit. But to call that a Murray moment, or the Hail Murray as what everybody's calling it, that's fucking weak to me. That's a big W, a big fucking weak, pathetic call. That was all DeAndre Hopkins, and I feel comfortable saying that. Petey.
Yeah. I'm gonna get behind you here. I'm gonna get behind you here, Theo. If I'm Nike, fuck getting mossed. If I'm Nike, I'm gonna start making shirts say "Get hot," because there were people, as you said, draped on him. He looked like a fucking coat hanger of Bills uniforms. And when his ass touched the end zone, the ball was in his hands. I mean, that shit was badass. I only saw the highlight, wasn't watching the game, but it was badass.
It was a great game. It was a really good game. I think the same. I think that a lot of people get credit. A lot of people why would you give the person that threw the ball to a pile of people the credit when someone has to catch it? Like you said, Theo, anybody can just let it fly. All 32 starting quarterbacks could have made that throw.
Well, what came first, Derek, the chicken or the egg? I think we know plenty of people, specifically 2 quarterbacks from Chicago that probably couldn't make that throw. Maybe we got another quarterback from Philadelphia that ain't going to be able to do it. And maybe there's a guy, I don't know, somewhere in Denver that probably won't be able to make that throw either. But there are definitely a fair amount of quarterbacks that can make that throw. Not all. Not
Okay.
all.
Well, they could make the throw in the vicinity. The vicinity, okay, oh, fuck off. No, but see, you're right. Okay, not everybody can make the throw.
No, it was Hopkins play the own, but I understand what you're saying.
Kyler's getting too much credit.
I mean,
that's I think that's the point we're all trying to make, is that Hopkins is getting too much credit.
I think we can agree on that.
I would have much rather liked Hopkins to run in for 45 yards and score the game-winning touchdown. Then it would have been a Murray moment. But the fact that he threw the ball, no. He was, yeah, I mean, he did his job. DeAndre Hopkins just was the bigger man.
So, Petey, I'll let you take the lead on this next one.
Oh, here we go. Talking about my boy Alvin Kamara, the divine savior of Sniper Gang, my fantasy team. Alvin Kamara, first of all, I mean, if not one of the most versatile backs in the league. He's impressive. His explosiveness is great. His way the way he can weasel through these little gaps is great. But every time I watch a Saints game, I am very impressed with how the coaching staff there is able to switch out between Kamara and Latavius Murray. I think Latavius Murray does a great job kind of coming in, being the enforcer. You know, they're going to hand him the ball and make him run up the gut, make that defensive line on the other team hurt a little bit, make those linebackers hurt a little bit, and then put the boy Alvin Kamara back in for some pace and run routes. You know, whether he's flashing out to the side, catching a little screen pass. I think the versatility to his game is just complemented by Latavius Murray. That two-headed snake they got down there in New Orleans is pretty fun to watch. But again, you know, Alvin Kamara definitely runs that show, but I think that people sleep on what Latavius Murray does for that team.
Absolutely. We talk about it a lot, how Alvin Kamara is definitely more of a receiving threat at running back, and Latavius Murray is between the tackle guy. Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to Sunday Night Football.
I want to say this. Latavius Murray, like you said, PD, like he is exactly what you want. He's the reason. What he does is the reason why Mark Ingram got paid in Baltimore. Like he does his job and he does it well. And the fact is, they don't put too much. Like Alvin Kamara, you do everything. You do 90% of the workload. Latavius Murray, we just need you to run hard and run fucking downhill. That's all we need you to do. And it's
I mean he does.
It's amazing. That's all I got. That's all I wanted to add to it.
All right, so let's jump in. Let's jump in through Sunday night because we got to get moving here.
We can keep. It's all right. It's all right. We can keep going. Let's get this Cleveland one.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Believeland no more. Believeland in the run. Believeland in the run. Give me a remix of the 2019 Titans. That is what Cleveland needs to transform themselves to. I'm going to give you guys a couple of stats here. And, you know, we got a small sample size. I only looked about 3-4 weeks back, but just looked at what happened in Cleveland. This week, they run the ball 41 times. They get 231 rushing yards at 5.6 yards per carry. Pretty solid. Think about all the time they're going to chew. And they won 10-7. I mean, that's kind of the epitome of a time-chewing, run-heavy game. Baker Mayfield, they let him throw the ball 20 times, which is fair with only 12 completions at 6.6 yards per reception. I mean, that is bummy. Mm-hmm. That is, I just think that there's, at what point do they say maybe Baker Mayfield is not the answer, but at what point do you just keep the ball on the ground and say, if we can win games like that, we will just keep it on the ground and keep running. You know, they did have a loss to the Raiders, 16-6, I believe, in Week 8. But again, that's a game where, you know, if you keep the ball on the ground and you kind of limit the amount that the Raiders get the ball, then there's much better chance that they're going to succeed. I'll even go one step back and to when they barely beat the Bengals. I think we can all agree that the Bengals and the Browns are on two different tiers nowadays. You asked me 2 years ago, I'd say they're probably both sitting at the bottom together on the rocks. But I think the Browns have transcended that face and they're doing a better job. But the fact that they could barely get by the Bengals, and I believe in that game they let Baker Mayfield throw the ball, I think it was 38 times, and was hovering right around 50% completion. It was definitely a shootout, but I think it just comes to a point where if your run game is good and you have two good running backs like they do in Chubb and Hunt, at what point do you just say, all right, let's make it a time game. Let's have some low score. Let's make it low scoring. Our defense has our back, and let's kind of just. I don't know. It's hard to describe what's going on over there. It's not like they don't have the offensive weapons as far as pass catchers go. Yeah, OBJ's not there to play right now due to the injury, but Jarvis Landry is no slouch. And the fact that they could barely get him the ball is a red flag.
Yeah, I think that the big thing is like this has been a reoccurring thing too. Baker Mayfield has proven time and time again when you put it in his hands, he's gonna throw a pick. He's not gonna get the job done, regardless of what it is. If you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, use them, and use them as much as you possibly can without overworking them. I think that is the smart strategy, and it could be Baker Mayfield just sucks. I think that might just be it. I think that their defense is helping out a lot. The defense is making it easier on Mayfield, but like they're doing exactly what you don't want to have happen to you, like you said, and chew the clock by running the ball 40 times. And then not letting up anything. Like that's the key to it. The key to that, you can do that all you want, but the key is you have to stop them on defense too, and their defense is doing that. So that's another big thing. So that's I think that should be the game plan moving forward.
And I think you're both exactly right talking about how the Browns strategy has to focus around the running game. I think that would be the case if they had Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb in the backfield. The fact that they have both of them, I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about how they're the best running back duo in the NFL, and I have yet to see a team that you could even compare it to. So the fact that they have both of them, I totally agree. The Browns need to focus on that run game and treat that as the first, second, and third option.
True. So we'll see. They're an interesting team to watch for here on out because they are in that bubble team. So we'll monitor them and see what happens. So who knows?
Boy.
Let's jump into Sunday Night Football, which was a very exciting game between two teams that have had some struggles throughout the year. And thinking about the offenses on each of these teams, you might not be very excited, but if you think about it, the specialty of the Ravens we've established at this point is the finesse running game, all the cutesy things, the screens and the quarterback runs and the pistol offense and all that cute shit. Whereas with the Patriots, it's that power running, it's power double team blocking, and then moving down the field with an authoritative running back, a big-bodied, huge-bodied quarterback. It ended up being a really nice game, really two very different styles of running the football. It was great to see. And as I sit here praising this run game, I'm going to go ahead and talk about wide receiver play. The best throw of the night between all the players on the field, which to Heisman winning, MVP winning, first round pick quarterbacks, the best throw of the night was made by high school quarterback Jakobi Meyers. He threw an absolute dot to the end zone under pressure with guys bearing down, that Ravens defense bearing down on him, and he made it look easy. He made me feel like that I could throw a touchdown pass if I was set up in the right scheme. So got to give credit to Jakobi Meyers. Also got to shout out J.C. Jackson there on the New England Patriots. This is his 5th straight game with an interception. Okay, so all the way back to the Patriots Week 6 game against Denver, he's had a pick in every single game. And when you're game planning for a team, if there's a guy who has an interception in back-to-back weeks, you notice him. That's when you start planning for him. So that means that the Bills, the Jets, and the Ravens all knew that J.C. Jackson was a threat and still fucked it up and let him get a takeaway. So J.C. Jackson, definitely a player to watch. I'm not going to say defensive player of the year or anything because he still only has 6 interceptions, but to say that he's a threat as a defensive player in this league is a severe understatement. Derek, what did you think about that Sunday night game?
This game was made for the Ravens to win. Bad weather. Windy as fuck. You're going to run the ball. You would expect to run the ball. And to be quite honest, the Patriots outran the ball to the Ravens. Ironically enough, Lamar Jackson didn't have a bad game on the ground throwing the ball. He was 24 for 34, 249 yards, 2 tutties, and an interception. And everybody's talking about, oh my gosh, like Lamar, how could he not win that? He's the MVP. How could he not make the comeback? I get it. It was a very bad weather, but the fact, like, you shouldn't put you shouldn't discredit Lamar Jackson for not being able to take that game-winning drive and drive down the field. You can't discredit him for that. But you can discredit him for not sticking to their game plan. This is the game they should have won. They should have ran the ball down their throats like they're supposed to, and they didn't. They didn't lose the game on that last drive. They lost the game in the first quarter. And that's how I see it. And yeah, the weather was bad, but they shouldn't have been in that situation. They shouldn't have had to have drive down there with all those gusts of wind and rain slanted sideways. That's my take from it. Have people figured out the Ravens, or like what's the deal here? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Have people figured out the Ravens? Is Lamar Jackson not playing to the standard of MVP caliber? I guess that's what we want to call it, or whatnot. Like what's the issue here in Baltimore? This is a game they should have won, and I'm surprised they didn't.
I do think the Ravens are they're kind of at the rock bottom, I think, for their capabilities right now. If I'm a Baltimore fan, though, I'm not panicking. You look at who they lost to. They lost to the Chiefs in the season opener. The Steelers barely beat them a few weeks ago. And now they lose to, a below-standard Patriots team. But, half-sleeved hoodie Bill Belichick is still a Hall of Famer coach, and he could beat any team out there. I think it's going to be what the Ravens do these next 2 weeks. They got 2 big matchups. They got the Titans and the Steelers coming up. It's going to be a big opportunity for them to kind of get the wheels turning, get Lamar Jackson's mojo back, and more importantly, knock off the Steelers and give them the first L of the year, because I'm calling that in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but my thing is, I'm just sick and tired of the Ravens just destroying these lackluster teams. And then just struggling to like I'm not going to say the Patriots are good or anything by any means, because obviously they're not as good as what they were previously. But like you said, it's still Bill Belichick. He still takes away your best weapon. That's what he's known for. But like how can you not like if you're the Ravens and you call yourself Super Bowl caliber team, you gotta win these big games. You gotta win these games you should win. And I just feel like they should have won this game. And it happens. It happens to the best of us. We had a bad loss against the Raiders. But like I was telling Theo like there's no way the Ravens lose this game. Like before the game, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna watch it because I think the Ravens are gonna destroy them. But I'm glad I watched it because of what happened. I don't know. That maybe that's just me.
I think too is the Ravens. The Ravens wide receiving core needs to step up. I've seen a lot of drop passes this year by who they've got out there. Willie Snead is a big body, but I'm still not convinced how legitimate he is. He's been around for a few years now. Some people are really high on him. Some people aren't. Mark Andrews, solid tight end. But, again, I think the wide receiving core needs to step up there, kind of prove that they have people that can be elite, and ultimately that'll allow Lamar Jackson to have better opportunities to run if the secondary is a little bit more worried about what the wide receivers are doing, what kind of routes they're running, and ultimately being able to bust open those big plays. Because I know, like the likes of Marquise Brown, he will do that, and I think he did a lot, in his previous I would say, he did it in college. He's been doing it. But I think that they kind of need to get that identity back, and they need to let Lamar Jackson sling, and then they also need to let him put his head down and run when secondary is all flushed back.
An easy fix to that is just put Dez on the field.
True.
We'll talk. All right, on to Monday night. We've touched on the Bears a little bit here and there. Let's talk about it specifically here. Even though we talk about the Bears offense, it's not looking so hot. I would be remiss not to bring up the name Cordero Patterson. I mean, talk about a guy doing it all over the field. He was, for all intents and purposes, the starting running back. He was a solid pass catcher. He had a really nice sideline grab. And also he had his 7th career return touchdown on a really nice play. I mean, that had to feel like a bad dream for the Vikings watching their former first-round pick take one to the house on them in Soldier Field wearing the Bears colors. So shout out Cordero Patterson, really getting it done all over the place where a lot of Bears are having a hard time doing it. And then, as we said, the Bears defense looking very good. I got a shout out to an underappreciated player on the Bears defense who I thought had a hell of a game. Brent Urban, defensive lineman, had a very nice game that night. And with Akeem Hicks leaving for part of the game with an injury, it was, really up for the Bears defense challenge to stop Dalvin Cook running the ball down their throats and getting 200 yards in Soldier Field. And I think a big part of that was Brent Urban having what you could say was his best game of the year, really smacking it all around on that Vikings offensive line. Love to see it.
Yeah, I think the Bears defense, everyone knows at this point kind of what the standard is for them and what you're going to get out of them every week. It's just a matter of, can the offense put up 20 points? I've been saying it for about 3 years now. If you look last year, Bears only lose 3 games if they score 21 or more points. And, in this game, even if it's just 20, even if your offense can just manage to find where the end zone's at, it's like instead of 3 blind mice, it's 11. And it's an offense with an offensive coordinator that just he can't even figure it out. He can't even get lucky. You can't get lucky to find the end zone. It comes to a point where it's like sometimes they don't even know where the red zone's at. They get to the red zone, they're like, holy fuck. It's like when you take a wrong turn on a street in a state you've never been there, and you're just trying to go maybe to visit someone, and you're already lost, but now you're more lost because you got no fucking clue what the hell is going on. I mean, get this man a Google Maps for the red zone and have him attempt to lock that in. Meanwhile, maybe you should be sitting shotgun and have someone else fucking drive because he just can't fucking figure it out. Like, it is literally pathetic what's going on in Chicago. It is hard to be a Bears fan. It is hard to watch. And to be quite honest, it's depressing to watch how inspiring their defense is. And then, if I got to go take a piss, I'm going to go take a piss when the offense is playing, not even when there's a commercial. Maybe I'll catch Patrick Mahomes on a commercial. He'll put a smile on my face, throwing a fucking bag behind the back, and we'll go right in the cornhole on the other side. I go to the bathroom when the Bears offense is on the field because that is the least interesting time for me as a Bears fan.
Dan, go off.
Whatever you guys got left, say it.
Yo, I'm just gonna say this.
What you guys got left, say
The
it.
good thing, the thing that I really enjoy about watching the Bears is that, like, even when it was fucking 24-17 or 23-17, you still thought the Bears were in it. Like, but then you were like, oh fuck, their offense has to score. And you're like, oh shit, this ain't the answer. Like it's pretty shitty that you can feel like you're in a game, but then once your offense gets on the field, you're like, yeah, no, we're gonna fuck this up. Like, and it's just, it sucks. I still think it's play calling. I think there's something wrong with coaching at this point. Like Nick, we know Nick Foles isn't this bad, but like I feel like the only bright side is Allen Robinson, and I don't know what to say about it because like I feel like it's still coaching. I feel like they have to bite the bullet, either get rid of Nagy, get rid of some OCs, get rid of DC. I don't know, get rid of someone.
Yeah, I I think there is some shuffling around that needs to go there. You guys watched that game? Were you guys tuned in for that?
Oh yeah.
I think what was most abysmal for me was just watching those first few drives. Once they did get in the red zone, there were multiple times where all it was a back shoulder pass to Jimmy Graham, and Nick Foles couldn't make that happen. And was it Nick Foles not making good pass? Was it the route wasn't run correctly? I'm not sure. I think it was a little bit of both because it happened about 3 times. But it's things like that where if you have a veteran tight end and you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback, you have to be able to connect that. And the fact that they can't is just, again, it's you don't wonder why they've dropped to a 500 team after starting 4-0.
Yeah, it sucks. But on the bright side, Kirk Cousins finally got a dub on Monday night. Woo! Feels good to say. Just saying.
I don't like that.
I love it. I'm sorry, Petey, but I love it. Like I don't know if you watched last week, but I instantly said I thought the Vikings were gonna win, and then I was like, oh fuck, Kirk Cousins is playing on Monday night. I instantly was reverting to the Bears because of that. But it which I don't know. I don't know, man. It was crazy.
Well, let's move on here. As usual on the Masks Off podcast, we like to highlight the thick boy plays of the week. And if you can't tell, Peter he himself is not a thick boy. But this week, you know what, Peter, you get honorary thick boy status. You could play in the trenches along with us this week. I'm gonna go first. Jump in here. My thick boy play of the week comes from the Tampa Bay against Carolina game. Good game. Didn't go the way that me and Derek hoped for, but you can't win them all. I was very impressed to see a pass rusher, not even just like an outside linebacker, but a true real life defensive end going out and getting an interception. Jason Pierre-Paul had a hell of a pick this week against Teddy Bridgewater. He dropped into zone coverage. He went out and got it. He earned that play, and then he had an excellent big man celebration to top it off. So I've had a lot of days where I've cheered against JPP during his time in New York, but I'm happy to say this Tampa Bay Jason Pierre-Paul, I mean, hats off to this guy. Love to see it. Here. Hats off JPP. PD, thick boy play of the week.
Some may say
JPP
was also almost a finger short.
Yeah.
One could say that, but that would be bad.
One firework too many. Sorry, that was tough. Anyways, thick boy play. I got Jamie Collins this week. Detroit Lions. Terry McLaurin catches the ball in between the hashes. Not only does he come out with the little incredible Hulk punch, but he recovers it. And you always like to see the thick boys force the fumble and recover it themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So it was nice for him to cash out on that and run up a stat line a little bit.
Absolutely, and I'm totally with that, Petey. And I just want to say before Derek, you jump in, I checked out that play when I saw you put it up here because I didn't see that play myself, and I wanted to check it out. That play came at a really opportune time for the Lions because after that play happened with like a minute and a half left in the first half. So the fact that they got that play and they went and they scored a field goal before halftime, they ended up winning that game 30-27. So that field goal was literally the difference between them winning and losing that game, and it was down to the Jamie Collins play. Hell of a thick boy play choice there, Petey. Derek, onto your thick boy play if you don't have anything else to add to that last one.
Yeah. Mine's Carl Nassib. Nassib. Similar to JPP. He's a thick boy on the line. Usually he's a pass rusher. This time he drops into coverage and he gets a pick. And not only does he pick it, he ran it back with he had like a 35-yard return. And he ran it back with authority, running over one, at least one. It was one person at least. But he looked like he was glad to have the ball and like he made the most of his opportunity. And it was just a thick boy play.
And you love to see that. You you have a secondary thick boy play, really a thick boy shout out. Please share that with the class.
Yes. I have a shout out. It was going to be my thick boy play of the week. Theo talked me out of it, which I respect. He deserves his own introduction. Laurent Duvernay Tardif, left guard for the Chiefs. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame this week, and it was his garments, whatever you want to call it, his outfit, his attire, and it was for him taking a year off from football and fighting the good fight against COVID back in Canada. He is a doctor, and the utmost respect for the man to give up a career of football for this year to go out and fight against this pandemic. Good on him, and fuck yeah, can't wait to have you back next year if we can figure shit out.
Absolutely, and I mean, like I was saying, it wasn't really a thick boy play on the field, but you got to respect the grind and making things happen and doing the dirty work where other people don't want to. And if that's not the moral of the story for the thick boys, then I don't know what is. So absolutely love to see that. Let's move on forward here into the Week 11 previews. And I got to say, this might be some of the best primetime game matchups that we have all year. Starting off with Thursday Night Football, the rematch of the game of the year when the Seattle Seahawks take on the Arizona Cardinals. Last time this was an offensive showing. It also had a fair amount of defense, run games in effect by quarterbacks and runners, Herculean wide receivers. You love to see it. I mean, decked out, ready to go for the Thursday night game at the conclusion of the podcast. Anything you want to say about Thursday night there?
It's going to be a great game. Looking for some high-impact action. I want to see... I think this is the deciding game. I hate to say this. We are all on it for this year. I get it, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, you've been playing very bad ball. Not going to lie, for the past couple weeks. If you do it another week, I don't know if we can say you're the MVP anymore. And I think you have to have a really good game this week, like a really good game to even say that you are. Because there's competitors that have been consistently doing great all year, and I know your defense sucks, but this is like Russ, like danger Russ. Come on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup this week. Definitely got the two best big body receivers, I think, in all of the NFL, between DK and Hopkins. So it's going to be a good matchup. To be honest here, boys, I think that the total game score is going to be over 70. I think it's going to be high scoring. It's got the recipe for a shootout. And what I'm looking forward to most is another play like getting hopped, because I think that it might come down to that. It might come down to one more 50, 60-yard throw, and see who comes down with it. And I think if Tyler Lockett's playing this week, I know he's questionable coming into the matchup. What does scare me if you're a Seahawks fan is to see how DK was able to get locked down last week. And if Tyler Lockett's not here to kind of provide diversity for that offense, I think the Seahawks could be in trouble. But if he's playing the night, I think the Seahawks come out with a win, and I think it's a very high-scoring game.
Agreed.
Yeah, I love to agree with you. On the Sunday Night Football, speaking of high-scoring affairs, or maybe not, this is going to be a matchup between the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens, and we've talked about both teams having their struggles passing the ball, but god damn do we know that they can run the ball. So that'll be a very interesting defensive running the ball matchup, not unlike the Sunday Night Football game that the Ravens just had.
I think the Ravens win this game. I say that because it's hard actually, because I think these are both must-win games. If the Ravens lose and the Steelers win, you can almost kiss the NFC North goodbye for the Ravens. The Titans are still, second place right now. I think they're second place behind the Colts. But I think the Ravens need this more, and I think the Ravens will come out and win it.
Yeah, I said it earlier in the podcast. I think the Ravens win against the Titans. I think the Ravens win against the Steelers the week after. I think they kind of prove why they were second favorite to win the Super Bowl. But it's going to be a good game this week, and I would anticipate it to also be a slow game. I think that it's going to be the offenses are going to try and be methodical. They're going to spend a fair amount of time. They're going to do their best to spend a fair amount of time on the field. And I don't know if you guys said low scoring, but I could definitely get behind that.
Absolutely. Speaking of low scoring, or at least on one side, the Eagles and Browns matchup this week, and I'm so excited to see that one. I wouldn't go out of the way to say that's my game of the week, but that's definitely going to be my game to watch for the week. I'm very excited to check that out. That Browns rushing attack versus the Eagles sucking attack, it's going to be a good one to watch, I think.
Dude, I just don't see the Eagles stopping the Browns.
No.
I don't see the Eagles outplaying the Browns defense. I think the Browns win this handily. I don't think the Eagles have a chance in this game.
I agree with D. Rich here. I think there's potential that Baker can throw 2 interceptions and the Browns still find a way to win it.
I mean, what was it? It was like 5 weeks ago. This motherfucker Baker Mayfield, I remember this. He threw for like 190 yards and like 1 touchdown, and they won like 38 to fucking 12. Like it was the weirdest stat line. Like it was, I don't know. He's fucking weird. This next game, Falcons Saints, NFC fucking South matchup. I'm excited. I want to talk about this real quick. Jameis is starting. I think it's going to be hot and heavy. I think this is the highest scoring game of the week. I think that might be safe for me to say. I think you can't. I don't know. I think it's gonna be fucking hot, dude. I can't wait for this game.
I think that I do agree it's going to be an interesting game. I don't know who you boys have favored here, but Jameis Winston, ex-Seminole, I'm giving him the chop, and I'm going with the Falcons this week.
No.
I think Julio Jones has a big week, and I'm excited to watch that game, but I think the Falcons are going to come out on top.
No, dude. I think the Saints are gonna win this, and I think they're gonna win it because this this is a pretty opportune time for Jameis to come in against a team that he knows. He's played them twice every year. It's not like he doesn't know this team. So I think Jameis is gonna come in and light it up. He has hell of a tight end, really good receivers out there, and he has Alvin Kamara. I think he's gonna light it up, and it's gonna be the Saints winning.
No.
Fuck off. What do you think, Theo? What do you think? Let's split it.
Well, I would love to say the Falcons. I'm honestly kind of butthurt in our week 1 predictions. I picked the Falcons to win the NFC South, and I think it's pretty clear that like they're probably the worst team in the NFC South, and I'm okay with it. I would like to say the Falcons win and get the upset, but I think the Saints are just the better all-around team, regardless of who they have at quarterback. That being said, I'm very interested to see how the Saints offense will change between Drew Brees and Jameis Winston, because it will change. These are not guys who have similar skill sets. They're very different strengths. They have very different weaknesses. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. I think regardless, the Saints defense being as good as it is, I think they hold off the Falcons offense enough for the Saints offense to do something, even if it is just checkdowns to Alvin Kamara again, for the Saints to get the win. So that'll be an interesting game. But hold on to your horses here, because it's finally happening. I didn't even know this game was happening.
Neither did I.
But here we go. Dolphins, Broncos. I mean, these are the teams not. What are you shaking your head? Get the fuck out of here. Other than the Cowboys, teams that we have obvious stakes in. I mean, these are the 2 teams that we've easily talked about the most on this podcast. I mean, it's our sleeper teams to make it into the wild card playoff round, and
my team might make it into the fucking top of the division. I'm just saying.
Oh, that is not a hot take. That is entirely realistic. So hey, obviously things are going different for these teams than we thought they would. With Tua taking over and this Salvador Ahmed guy taking over as the running back for Miami. Also the injuries in Denver on offense and defense. things change the way than where we thought they were because of how things are going and momentum and all that. I see the Dolphins winning this one.
Same.
If it's Locktober, which it ain't anymore, but if it was, I'm locking in the Dolphins as well. The fact that the Broncos have forced the second least amount of points in the league this year. Only team worse than them is that team from Washington they used to call the Redskins.
It's the F words now.
There is no way that Denver finds a way to win. I think the Dolphins have caught a nice little spark. I think Tua has proven himself as a starter, and I don't think this game is close. I don't know what the spread is, but I bet the Dolphins cover it.
And there was actually an interesting article that I'm not sure if it's true. I didn't fact check it, but reportedly the front office is very upset with Drew Lock right now. Don't know why. So maybe that plays I'm not saying that plays a factor into this game, but just a little tidbit.
I mean, John Elway's proven at this point he just can't pick a quarterback.
True.
Like, we want to give him credit. We want to be like, oh, John Elway, fucking Super Bowl winner, can find a quarterback. He can't. The best thing he did for Denver was bring in Peyton Manning, and you can't say he made Peyton Manning. So it's been the Paxton Lynches and the Trevor Simeons and the Drew Locks. So Elway, you're on the hot seat, my guy.
True.
All right. Slugfest of a matchup. This one is probably game of the week, to be perfectly honest. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, top-tier offense versus top-tier defense is always something that you want to hear about. I don't know if I could pick a winner in this one, boys. I'm not going to lie.
I got Packers.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough one. It's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be a close one. I'm going to favor the Packers here as well. I'm hopping on what D. Rich has got to say. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think that, everyone knows what the Colts defense is capable of. They have proven themselves. Mm-hmm. But I think it's kind of I think the Packers might even settle with running the ball a fair amount this game. If they can just limit the amount of drives that the Colts have and then use their offense to explode occasionally, I think they'd feel really good about winning this game. But if somehow, some way, the guy with fucking 9 kids, Phillip Rivers himself, wants to go out there and start having himself a heyday, maybe T.Y. Hilton brings back 2016 and starts running down the field like the Lightning he used to be, they could have a chance. But I think the Packers, I think there's a good chance they win this game, and I think that as long as their run game is solid, Aaron Rodgers will take care of the rest.
Yeah, that's how I kind of feel. And like you mentioned, it's very hard to stop that one play that goes for fucking 50, 60, 70 yards. Like, it seems like the Packers have at least one of them every week. That play very well could be the deciding factor for this game.
Yeah, I think you run the ball, you draw them in, and then you go for the gut shot.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think the Packers win this game without running the ball, so I'm totally on board with that. Speaking about winning the game with running the ball, Sunday Night Football is the Chiefs against the Raiders. And I mean, we've talked about this enough for all our watchers to know that the only game that the Chiefs have lost this year is a shootout against the Raiders. And it would be hard for the Raiders to beat the Chiefs twice in a row. My real concern is that Andy Reid has spent the last week drawing up fucking 500 different passing plays to try to get the Chiefs to win this game. I don't think they win this game without a solid running game. It was proven that Josh Jacobs is a bully. I'll pick the Chiefs because I feel more comfortable saying that they're going to win, but they better run the ball, man. The Raiders have shown that they can hang with the Chiefs in a pass off. So
I just got a few things to say about this. Number one, the week 4 loss to the Raiders, or week 5, whatever it was the biggest margin of defeat Patrick Mahomes has had in his era. He's never lost by more than 7 points, and he lost by 8 points that game. And another thing to note that Andy Reid is 18-3 off of a regular season bye week. He doesn't lose off the bye week. If you give him that extra week, he almost never loses. I think what the issue was, and I think why we lost that game is because we've dominated this division. I'm not saying we don't take this division seriously, but we've dominated this division. And maybe we didn't go into it with the right mindset. This time we will. This time we'll come with the intensity. The Panthers last week or 2 weeks ago shown that we need to come with intensity every week. So I think I just don't see the Chiefs losing, especially since we've already lost to them once this year.
I agree here with Derek. If you're looking for a bet to place this week, it's got to be on the Chiefs over the Raiders. It's not like them to lose twice to the same team. And, I think Derek said it best. Just, they even had that last little scare against the Panthers. And I think they're about done playing football like that. I think they find a way to put up 38 points plus on the board. And I think they win comfortably.
Yep.
I can see that absolutely. And then going on to Monday Night Football, the Rams against the Bucks. I mean, this is a sexy interconference matchup. These two teams are playing hot. They're playing for playoff positioning. They're playing for divisional positioning. Both of them are very much in their divisional hunt. I got to go with the Rams on this one. I think their defense is going to do enough to hold up the Bucks offense. I think between Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald are going to be enough impact players to get the Rams to win.
What you got, Theo?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good game. I honestly don't know who to grab here if we're being honest. I think the Rams defense has been catching a lot of good hype. I still don't know if they're still the defense everyone thinks they are, but if there's an offense that can catch fire, it's the Bucks, and I think that it's going to be a good game, and I think we're going to see what it's all about. I think it's also hard to deny the fact that I think Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp have done a very good job this year, just both being very solid players. No team can just say, oh, well, we'll just cover this one guy. I think they're a good two-headed snake, and they do a good job kind of keeping defenses on their toes. To me, I think the Bucs defense is better than the Rams. I don't know how you boys feel about that, but I think it's going to be whatever defense can show up and show out.
Yeah, I think also with that, they do very well at utilizing two tight ends too. The Rams do with Gerald Everett and Tyler Higbee. So and then fucking this other dude that came in number 11. What's his name?
Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds. He's like, I feel like that's just the Rams offense. They spread the ball. Goff spreads the ball. He gives it to the hot hand. And quite frankly, all these guys can have a really hot hand. And I do think the Bucs defense is better than the Rams this year, but I don't think it will be Monday night. I think the Rams inch out a victory against the Bucs.
All right, let's do some very quick burnt takes wrapping up at the end here. My burnt take, it comes from the Stardom Situms this week. Adam Rank puts them together. I've come out against Adam Rank a couple times before, but I will say he does good like 95% of the time. He makes logical picks. I got to go against him this week. He is telling readers to start Dallas Goedert and Travis Fulgham against the Browns in the Eagles-Browns matchup this week. And I don't see how that could be possible. As we talked about, the Eagles' offense is questionable at best. The Browns' defense is very good. I would maybe get on board if you can come up with the Pro Football Focus root metrics to start one of these guys. But to say that both Dallas Goedert and Travis Fulgham are going to have start-worthy games this year, I cannot get behind.
The fact that they're getting healthy, though, it just puts Fulgham down the list at least. Especially because they're getting healthier wide receiver. Dallas Goedert, I would start over Fulgham, but I still just, I don't know.
Yeah, one or the other would be okay, but definitely not both.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more here, Theo. I think this is not a burnt take. It's a take that belongs in the incinerator. Unless your team's 0-8, you're probably not starting them. Or 0 and fucking what, 9 at this point? 10, 11, 12, 13?
Right.
We had kind of brought it up earlier, Baltimore. I think you guys know how I feel about them. I think they're catching fire. Well, they will catch fire this week. They didn't catch fire last week. They caught the smoke last week. But they got a good chance against the Titans here this week to prove to themselves that they belong in a Super Bowl. And I think they're going to follow it up again with another good game next week against the Steelers. So for this so-called Benjamin Hoffman at New York Times, stick with Wall Street, buddy, because football ain't your thing.
Bro, I just want to say this, though, PD. I'm sorry. I just want to say I agree that there's something not right with Baltimore. I'm not saying they're trash. I'm not saying they're bad. But there is something not right with Baltimore, and I think I'm going to agree with that. I think that
it's just one game. It's the Patriots could fuck
multiple games. It hasn't been one game. It's been multiple games.
They lost to the Steelers and the Chiefs. The
Steelers have had a questionable schedule anyway. Like I don't know how good the Steelers really are. If I'm being
I don't
completely
question
honest.
the steel curtain.
I don't question that, but I question their offense. I question Big Ben, not their offense. Big Ben.
All right, there, Derek. Go on to your burnt take there, kid.
All right. So my burnt take is that Stephen A. said that the Saints will not be more explosive with Jameis Winston. And the reason I called this a burnt take is because I feel like that's what Jameis Winston is known for. Obviously, he throws a lot of picks. We get that. We understand that he does that. But he is known for these explosive plays. Like every week last year, you would see fucking Deshaun Jackson, Chris Godwin. I mean, not Deshaun Jackson, but he'd see people fucking throwing it for fucking and catching 70-yard bombs. And I think with Drew Brees being out, and I think the Saints are in perfectly good hands with Jameis Winston, but I do think they may not be as good, but they're going to be more explosive. That is the reasoning behind my burnt take, that Stephen A. says they're not going to be more explosive. And I think they are going to be more explosive. So
I think there's potential to be explosive here, but I think there's also potential that, once again, Jameis Winston, you hinted to it earlier, Derek, will have a problem with interceptions. If you look at his stats from last season, playing with the Buccaneers, 30 interceptions.
And
he had more interceptions last season than Mitch Trubisky has fans.
So
it's just an insane amount. 30.
But the thing is that I want to allude to the question, which is more explosive. Can you tell me right now that Drew Brees is more explosive than Jameis Winston?
It's hard to be explosive when your offense isn't on the field because you forgot which team you're thrown to.
Answer the question. Is Jameis Winston? Jameis Winston is more explosive than Drew Brees. What's the worst thing about watching Saints games this year is that Drew Brees throws it for fucking 4 yards or a screen. That's what he does. Jameis Winston's going to sling the rock, and he's going to be more explosive. They might not be as good, but they're going to be more explosive. That's the point I'm trying to take. I'm not trying to say that they're going to be undefeated under Jameis Winston, but they're going to be explosive.
I can see that. I could see your point there. I think there's rationally you would think that they could be more explosive, but I think the offensive efficiency will take a dock this week with Jameson under center. Or Jameson. I'm thinking about drinking already, boys. Thursday night football is upon us. It's Thirsty Thursday. We've already been fueled by Budweiser.
But anyways, yeah, we'll have to see with Jameis. We'll have to see. We don't know anything yet, but I think he will be more explosive. And so yeah, that's it. That's my burnt take.
I don't get to say. What?
What were you gonna say?
I'm with Peter on this one, and even more surprisingly, I'm with Stephen A. Smith on this one. I totally agree with you, and I guess all that you're saying is that Jameis Winston is going to look for the big play more often, which I can't argue with that. I mean, he has a gunslinger reputation already from Tampa, and he did get eye surgery, so he can't actually see now. There's that, and you can't take away from that. But when we talk about big plays, and we talk about like actually connecting big plays, not just putting them, like going for them and hucking the ball. We talk about stringing together a good drive where the big play makes sense or where there's an opportunity for it. We don't just talk about like throwing the ball. Anybody can throw the ball 40 yards any play. But even though Drew Brees, like you said, he did check the ball down a lot to Kamara and he threw like 2 passes over 20 yards this year. When he did look down the field, it was there because of how he put the drive together. And without a doubt, Drew Brees is a better field general than Jameis Winston. At his worst, he's a better field general than Jameis Winston. And for me, when I disagree with you, I'm not saying that Jameis isn't going to look for the big play because, as you said, that's the kind of player he is. But in terms of making that happen and making it work and getting it to be effective and getting his team in the best place to win, I don't see him being as effective as Drew Brees is. Do I think he's going to put the ball up? Yes. Is he going to throw the ball over 20 yards? Yes, I agree with you. So if that's all you're saying, then I guess I can get on.
I'm saying explosive. You mentioned efficiency. I'm not asking for efficiency. I'm saying this team is going to be more explosive with Jameis Winston. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying they're going to be better. They're going to be worse. I'm saying that he is going to be, the yards per attempt, the yards per catch are going to go up. He's not going to throw a screen to Alvin Kamara every other play. I think Sean Payton's going to play to his strength. I think that was one big problem with Jameis is that he never had a good coach that coached him well. And I think under Sean Payton, you saw with Teddy Bridgewater, he went 5-0 last year with the Saints. I think the point I'm trying to make is that they are going to be more explosive, but obviously, like, we're not going to say the efficiency is going to be great. They may not win. They may not be on the same track. I don't know. That means it's good, but they're going to be more explosive.
I also have to wonder how much Taysom Hill is going to play this week. That makes me curious.
And if he plays more this week, then he does. But that's just I think Taysom Hill is going to add to the explosiveness with Drew Brees being gone and Jameis in place. I still think it's because Jameis is still going to be on the field in those sets. For the most part, maybe they let Taysom throw it. They haven't let Taysom throw it when Drew Brees is in. Maybe they finally let Taysom throw it this year. I don't know.
Any final thoughts?
Nothing that was already nothing new and groundbreaking. I think everyone knows what Taysom Hill brings to the table at this point in the season, or at this point in his tenure time with the Saints. I think he's going to be a good option. I think he'll get around the same amount of snaps as he typically would, and it's going to be a good game. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm more or less excited to see what Jameis Winston does to the offense, whether it is good or bad. To be completely honest, this is just something I saw, and I'm just excited.
I'll agree with you there. Like, whether it's good or bad, it's going to be some interesting football to watch, especially against a team like the Falcons, who, I mean, again, good or bad, they're must-watch football every week. So that'll be a game to watch. Good divisional matchup. If that doesn't get your cockles rolling, then you don't like NFL football.
Hell yeah.
I agree.
And with that, we're just about done here. It's been a pleasure as per usual. Great time here with Peter Fish. Definitely lived up to my expectations. Very happy you could join us, come on here. Very intelligent takes, very funny guy. Everything we promised and more.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate you boys having me on this week. I hope we do it again, and I'm interested to see what some of these bold takes we had, how they pan out this week for some good old Sunday football. And upon us tonight, we've got a great shootout.
Hell yeah, we haven't been wrong for the most part about these takes. We've been pretty accurate for the most part. So hopefully we keep the train rolling. But who fucking knows at this point?
Exactly, and that's the moral of the story.
It's 2020, so
real talk.
Anyways, PD, love to have you on again. It was fun. And fuck yeah. That's all I gotta say. Without further ado, y'all, we're gonna get out of here. Watch some Seahawks Cardinals. Love y'all. Peace.
Thanks, boys.